Good morning, friends. Welcome back to our professional ethics and human values class. Right, today we need to discuss about what is meant by inquiry and types of inquiry. Right, and we will enter to the theories of professional ethics. Right, theories of ethics. Right. Let me share screen to you all. So here, so we are in the third unit. Right. So already we completed a number of topics here. So today's topic is types of inquiry, right? Look at here, types of inquiry. And then we need to focus upon these theories: utilitarianism theory, virtue theory, ethical, all other theories like deontological theories, Pehv, Gilligan's theory, Henge theory. These are the different theories we have, right? Next class we have discussed about these things. So types of inquiry, today's class, right? Already we completed these all things: professional roles, profession, professionalism, and profession, professionalism. Scope of engineering ethics already we completed, right? What is the need? History, moral autonomy. Last class we discussed moral autonomy, and already we completed the components of engineering ethics. Am I right? Next thing, today's class, meaning of inquiry. What is meant by inquiry? So what is the major purpose of inquiry, right? So here, inquiry is for to develop our future course of actions. Am I right? To take a good decision, we need to take the decisions. We need to take the inquiry in a right manner, right? So here, for taking a good decisions in our life, for taking a future course of actions, to select a best suitable actions for betterment of our future, we need to have some inquiry. We need to have some information, right? So through the accurate, specific, exact information, we can understand and we can estimate our future, right? And we can take decisions and we can plan for our forward planning, right? So our total future will be depending upon the right decision. So this right decision is depending upon the information. So the information is based on the inquiry. So inquiry for to get the information. Inquiry for to get the information, right? So here, what is meant by inquiry means? So it is a activity to collect the information for better decision making in our personal life as well as company's life, right? So this accurate information leads to good decision making and forward plannings, right? And this good decision making will leads to betterment of our future. So this information is one of the key factor to make a right decisions, right? So right future course of actions. So this information is based upon inquiry. After we are conducting inquiry, then we will get the right and superb, excellent information we have. Then we need to take a right decisions and forward planning. And also we plan for future course of actions. So based upon these all things, we can have the better future as well in our personal life as well as our company's life, right? So look at this thing. So moral inquiry is an activity in which we all at some level of engage, and it's natural to think that someone of us, someone of the time, do it quite well, while others do it well, less well, right? And when we do it well, it is natural thing to, of it is way of finding things about how we and others ought and ought not to act. So that is the meaning of moral inquiry here. So here, look at this total paragraph. This is the key point here. So it is a way of finding things. It is a way of finding things. The simple meaning of inquiry is here. It is a way to finding the things. Is called as your inquiry, right? It is an activity which will at some level of engage. It is a level of engage. So for the purpose of the inquiries here, it is a way of finding the things. It is a way of finding the things. So just we know, we need to understand some situations and we need to some understanding some morals and ethics and the right actions based upon the right information. This right information is depending upon right inquiry. So asking for to know the information is simply called as your inquiry. So inquiry means questioning at every stage. Look at the second point here. Inquiry means questioning at every stage and what actions can be taken for the future. Just I told you, na. So here, this questioning at every stage and what action can be taken for the future. So we need to moral and values to resolve the judgment of our problems, right? To solve our problems, to solve our problems judgment, then we need to have some information. This information is simply questioning at every stage. Look at here, questioning at every stage and what action can be taken for the future. So these are two things are comes under here, inquiry. So inquiry means questioning at every stage and what actions can be taken for the future. So based upon this thing, we can solve on judgment of our problems. We can solve on the judgment of our problems. So for this purpose, we need to conduct inquiry, right? Questioning at every stage and action can be taken for the future. So here, this is the following are the important to analyze. So these are the few things we need to have. How to behave in a particular situation. We don't know. Just here we are doing and we are conducting inquiry and we can able to know some information about particularly this thing. So how to behave in particular situation. So after completion of inquiry, we can able to know and we can able to have the knowledge about to behave, how to behave in a particular situation. So we don't know different situations are there. So in some of the examples of situations, marriage occasions or death occasions, next interviews occasions or interviews situations, next friends in front of friends and in front of new joining and new colleagues to us and in front of authorities, higher authorities, right? So these are the different situations. We need to mingle with them, right? So for these different situations of our life, then what we don't know how to behave in these different situations. Then we need to conduct inquiry. We need to search for a right behavior in these particular situations. So this type of searching is inquiry. Now next conducting, next look at here, what is right conduct? So and next, what is moral behavior? What is ethical behavior? What are the values we need to have? And what is the good and what is the bad to the people? And what the policies, beliefs, and assumptions we need to have. So these all things are come from the proper inquiry, proper inquiry. So after conducting inquiry, we have some knowledge and we have some solutions and we have some answers to these all questions, right? So here, conducting of inquiry, we can able to answer these all questions. So right, how to behave in particular different situations, right? And next, what is the right conduct we need to have? What is the right conduct we need to have? Right conduct means here right behavior, right behavior. So what is the right behavior we should have in front of the society, in front of the friends, in front of the family members, in front of the relatives, in front of the unknown persons, right? So how to behave and how to have the right behavior, right conduct in front of all these categories of people, right? And next, what is the moral behavior? We don't know. Just through the inquiry, we can able to know the moral behavior, right? Next, ethical behavior. Ethical behavior. We know ethical behavior from this inquiry. Next, already we know morals, ethicals, and values. These three things already we know. Morals means just to simply try to understand the situations of insider people and helping to the insider people, right? And ethics means try to understand the situations of outsiders and try to help the outsiders. And values means to develop ourselves to helping self. So simply self-help skills. So helping to myself, helping to ourselves. That is called as your values. So some values already we know in the first unit. So self-confidence, uh, next self-control, self-direction, self-motivation, next diet control, body control, eye control, talk control, next meditation, motivation, self-motivation, next having pity, honesty, kindness. These all things, and courage, emotional intelligence, these all things are comes under their values. Values, right? So here, values. So we can have the values through conducting of a proper inquiry. Next comes to the what is good and what is bad to the people. So we need to able to know what is good and bad to the in front of the people, and what are the policies we have, what are the beliefs we need to have, and what are the assumptions we need to have, right? These all things are also comes under through conducting a proper inquiry. After completion of inquiry, we can know the proper and accurate information. Through this information and accurate inquiry, we can have the right behavior. We can have the right behavior and right beliefs and policies in a particular situations or in every life stages, right? And coming to the next thing, types of inquiry. So already here we know what is meant by inquiry and what is the purpose of inquiry. So simply inquiry means finding the things, way of finding the things. So this way of finding the things is for to judgment of our problems and solve our problems, right? And another purpose is here of inquiry is that to know about all these things, to know about all these things, right? Problem solving, next judgment, and we can able to know the right conduct, moral behavior, ethical behavior, values, and these all things, right? So these are the major purposes of inquiry. And finally, inquiry means way of finding the things, right? Way of finding the things. So now, types of inquiry. So types of inquiry here, we have three types of inquiries. First one is normative inquiries, and then conceptual inquiries, and factual or descriptive inquiries, right? So let us see one by one. So this is normative, this is conceptual, and this is factual or descriptive inquiries, right? First, coming to the first thing, normative inquiry. Since normative inquiry is one of the type of inquiry, which meaning is here rules and regulation based inquiry. to know the rules and regulations for each and every situation. That is called as here normative inquiry. So here, how far does the obligations of engineers, how far the obligations or responsibilities of engineers to protect the public safety extended in a given situation, right? So how far we go, how far we will have the responsibility to safeguarding the public or safeguarding the society. So this type of questions. So simply, what are the limitations? What are the scopes of a engineer? These related questions are concerned here. Normative inquiry, right? So here, look at here. It seeks to identify and justify the morally desirable norms or standards that should guide individual and groups. So look at here, to identify and justify the morally desirable norms. So whatever actions and whatever functionalities we need to insert moral norms, ethical norms in our actions for doing these all things to the society, right? So here, identify the morally desirable norms. So these norms are meant for moral, right? So simply, rules and regulations is called as the norms. So simply, norms means rules and regulations. So moral, desirable rules and regulations. We need to identify these things. That is the point here, normative inquiry. So simply, morally desirable norms we need to identify to have a right behavior as an engineer in front of the society and protecting the society. So that is the thing is here, normative inquiry, right? So normative inquiry, it is also has a theoretical goal of justifying a particular moral judgment, So normative questions are about what ought to be and what is good based upon the moral values. So this normative questions is based upon the moral values. Moral values. For example, look at here. How far the obligation? How far does the obligation or how far the responsibilities of engineers to protect the public safety? Already I told you in this same thing. So how for the responsibilities having with the engineer for safeguarding or protecting the society. So simply the scope of the engineers, simply here, the scope and limitations, the limits of the engineers activities and their responsibilities. So here, how for the obligation of the engineers, how for the responsibilities of engineers to protect public safety, to protect the public safety in a given situation, right? So ఎంత మట్టుకు మనం చేయొచ్చు, మన లిమిట్స్ ఏంటి టు ప్రొటెక్ట్ అవర్ పబ్లిక్ సేఫ్టీ, రైట్? నెక్స్ట్, another example is here in normative inquiry. Should engineers be expected to blow whistle on the dangerous practices of their employees or not? So should engineers be expected to whistleblowing on dangerous practices of their employers? So simply here, engineer is a employee of the organization. Am I right? So as an engineer, we have a responsibility to stop the unethical things conducted by our owners. Listen carefully. As an engineer, we have a responsibility to stop and don't encourage the unethical things practicing by our company owners, right? So if the company owners doing these type of unethical practices and unfair activities, then we need to express these all things to the society. That is called as here whistle blowing. So look at here. Blow whistle means here whistle blowing. Whistle blowing. Whistle blowing. So whistle blowing means simply here reveal the unethical things performed by the chairman or owners of our company to the society. That is called as here whistle blowing. Please remember this thing, whistle blowing. So here, as an engineer, we should be expected or expressed whistleblowing on dangerous, look at here, dangerous practices of their employers, dangerous practices done by their employers. If the employers done unethical activities or unfair trading, then whistleblowing is doing or not. It is a decision depending upon the mindset and attitude of the employees, right? If the company chairman or the company board of directors will do the wrong things and will do the uh, unethical things for the society or for the customers, then this type of unethical things and bad practices, then we need to reveal to the government. We need to present to the government these all things with evidences, So thus this type of reveal these bad things, unethical things to the government with evidences is that here whistleblowing, whistleblowing. So in this point, in this normative inquiry, we need to have some knowledge and have the inquiry about as an engineer, we do whistleblowing or not doing the whistleblowing. So this decision is depending upon the attitude and moral levels of the employees, right? So this is the second point is very important, whistleblowing, right? And the third example of normative inquiry is here, whose values ought to be primary in making judgment about the acceptable risk in designing of a public transport system and a nuclear plant. Is it management or senior engineers or government or voters or all of them? So here, risk management to public public transportation system or a nuclear plant. So this transportation system, nuclear plants is the different examples or different situations. So based upon that, these different situations, the primary judgment of you as an engineer. So what type of judgment you will give in this type of public transportation system or nuclear plant or risk management or risk reducing actions? These are things, these are the particular situations. What are the judgment as an engineer you will do, you will take, you will give, right? This is another example of normative inquiry. So these are the different situations. And next, look at here, when and why does the government justify and interfering with the organizations? When and why the government justifies in interfering with the organizations. So government involvements, government interfering with the organizations, when and what situations and why they are involving, they are interfering with organizational activities, we need to able to know. So these are the different situations. And also we have what are the reasons on which engineers show their obligations to their employees or clients or public. So what reasons on which engineers show their obligations. So what are the, simply here, what are the responsibilities having by the engineer? And what are the activities and functional activities will have as an engineer, right? So sorry, what are the functionalities? What are the reasons? As an engineer, we need to follow. What are the responsibilities and what are the actions we need to have as an engineer. So these are the different examples or comes from here, normative inquiry. So responsibilities and functionalities. And next, government interference. Next, different situations like nuclear plant. Next, transportation system and risk management. So these different situations, how to handle these things. The third thing. And next thing, the primary judgment about whistleblowing or not. Whistleblowing about the unethical things performed by the management. Then reveal it or not to reveal it. So this is the fourth thing. And next, engineers' responsibility and their limits and their levels. So these different situations, these are the five different situations. We need to have the normative inquiry, right? And next, another type of inquiry is here. It is directed to clarify conceptual inquiry. It is directed to clarify the meaning of concept or idea or principles that are expressed by the words or by the questioning the statements. So here they are directed to clarify the meaning of concepts. So meaning of concepts or meaning of ideas or meaning of principles. So these principles or concepts or ideas, right? These three things we need to clarify. We need to clarify in the form of by expressing the words or by expressing the questions and the statements. For example, what is meant by safety? Safety is a concept or idea, right? How is related to the risk? Risk is a concept, and how to solve the risks in our organization. Those are the principles. So risk management principles. So here, how to solve the risk and their principles, and what is meant by safety? It is a concept, and what is a bribe? What is a bribe, and how to avoid this bribe? So bribe means simply corruption or bribe, right? Lancham, lancham ఇవ్వడం, lancham తీసుకుంటాం. This is called as bribe. So giving money and taking the money for doing our activities, right? So bribe or corruptions, it is a concept. So these are the different concepts or ideas, or these are the different principles. So to know about these all things, are comes under their conceptual inquiry. Concept తెలుసుకుంటాం, conceptual inquiry, right? Next, what is a profession? So job. So what is a profession? It belongs to idea. So work related ideas to conduct or to perform, to accomplish in a within a specified time with accuracy. So these are the different questions. When moral concepts are discussed, normative and conceptual issues are closely interconnected. So normatives and conceptual. So these two, normative inquiry and conceptual inquiries are closely interconnected. So conceptual inquiry is for to know the concept in different situations of our life. Coming to the third thing, factual or descriptive inquiry. It is purely based upon, look at here, it is aimed to obtain the facts needed for understanding and resolving values issues. So here we need to concentrate and we need to know the facts, the truths of particular thing needed for understanding and resolving the values and the problems, right? Values and their issues. For this purposes, to solve our problems, to judge our problems, we can have a accurate information and facts or truths. So to know about the facts or truths, we can inquiry for this thing. That type of inquiry is called as their factual inquiry. factual inquiry. So what is the truth? What are the facts we can able to know through this conducting of factual inquiry? So this factual inquiry will leads to solve our problems of our company or in our personal life also. So look at here, how we are benefits assessed and what are the procedures followed in risk assessment. So risk assessment, the procedures and short-term and long-term effects of drinking water being polluted water drinking. Then what are the long-term and short-term effects? So these are the different situations. And next, who conducted the tests on materials? So these are the different situations or different questions. For these things, we need to know the facts relating to these all things and the situations, all the situations. So based upon the facts, we can solve our problems and we can take a few decisions, right decisions to better our life, right? So this is the exact inquiry to, it is a way of finding the things, it is a way of finding the things is called as here inquiry. The main purpose of inquiry is to take right decisions and solve the problems and to take a judgment and to solve and to have the answers to all these questions. So this is the main purpose of inquiry, and these three things are the types of inquiries. Normative inquiry means to know the norms, to know the norms, rules and regulations for particular situations. Conceptual inquiry means to know the concept or to know the principles or to know the ideas of particular situations. And factual or descriptive inquiry means based upon the situation, we know the facts or truths, right? So normative means know the rules and regulations. Conceptual inquiry means to know the principles and concept and ideas to solve the problems. And factual means to solve the problems, to know the situational based facts and truths for a judgment purpose. So these are the different types of inquiries we have, right? Okay, guys, thanks for listening. Next class, we will meet with the ethical theories, ethical theories, right? So in the ethical theories, we have utilitarian theory, deontological theories, teleological theories, Kulhaberg theory, next Henry theory, Gilligan's theory. These are the different theories we have, right? In the next classes, we need to know about these theories from our third unit of professional ethics and human values. Okay, thanks for listening, guys. Stay home, stay safe. Be careful with corona, right? Bye, guys.